he goes to check out Denny once again. I moved the training area because it seemed like when I was trying to pull him way over there, he wasn't really too comfortable with that area. So we're just going to see if we can get something done in this area today. He's looking. No, you guys can't see him. He's over in the corner between the two horses' pens behind the camera and then Denny's pen over there, looking for some scraps from her feed, which is not hay pellets, so it makes sense that that is pulling his attention right now because she gets Triple Crown Senior, which is a really rich beet pulp based feed that they really, really, really enjoy. So here he comes. Figured out there's no scraps. He's got to stop and eat some snow. I think they have been gorging themselves on this bale that's out here since we put it in the pasture, so it's easy to say, oh, my horse doesn't like me, he's had time off, and make stories about it, but in reality this is most likely happening because he's been eating at least 30 pounds of hay every day, and like I said, we have those nets on the way, so that should slow down their consumption and keep him a little bit less gorged on the hay, so that'll be nice. And here we go. Good boy. Now we're just going to start out today with some super easy asks. We're not going to do anything too hard. We might work on haltering again, since the halter getting stuck on his ears is what happened yesterday and freaked him out a little bit. I'm going to gently set my target down. Good. Just starting out with some touch here. We're literally just asking him to stand still. There's nothing complex about it. Okay, then we might move on, ask him to pick up a hoof. We'll take that, even though he didn't pick it up in the correct fashion. That's okay. He's starting to really enjoy just nice face rubs. You see that head lowering and that eye start to really blink. A lot of times they're real itchy underneath their face too. He's pulling away, so I'll stop. We have a big exhale, and then he touches my hand with his face. Here, if he pulls too far, I'm not going to chase him. I'll wait for him to come back to me. And that's him saying he's okay with it and ready for it. It's like he's going to ask for body scratches here. I know that he's got this itchy spot on his shoulder. I don't know if you guys can hear, but my jacket is making a whoosh, 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 whoosh sound. So his ears are getting a little bit focused on that every once in a while. That's a good spot, though. All right. Now we'll just ask him to pick up this leg again. Good. He took all the weight off it. I'm going to reward for that. Remember, we always want to reward for the smallest try. We'll do that again. Good. And I see a lot of people, when they're picking up the legs, they will squeeze really hard, or they'll use the hair down here and forcefully pull up on the hoof. I don't like to do any of that. I like to just rub my hand down and I'll place it. You see, he started to lift it before I even asked. I'll just rub my hand down, place it on the chestnut and the inside, and that is our cue to shift their weight over and pick up that leg. Let's see about this side. First I'll check for an itchy shoulder. And it looks like he is a little itchy over here too. I just like to throw in some scratching because it's very enjoyable for the horse, and human fingers are not something that he can find out in the field to get these itchy spots with, so it's very enjoyable for them as long as they're super comfortable being touched. And you can tell he's comfortable because of all this funny stuff he's doing with his lips and his head and his neck and his face here. Okay. Now for the foot. He has a shift and he picks it up. Very good. Good boy. Very nice. Good boy. That time he lifted it all the way up in the perfect fashion, just like it's supposed to be. That was very good. Good boy. Alrighty guys, now after some reflection on yesterday, it is a little bit disappointing and disheartening sometimes when your horse says no. But you just have to remember that it's not always you. There's environmental factors. There's the fact that he could have eaten so much yesterday, he just really didn't feel good. There's a million different reasons. So don't assume that if your horse says no, that you're doing something wrong. But in this case, after some reflection on yesterday's session, I definitely realized and acknowledged that I had the expectation that he wouldn't forget how to halter. It's something that he's really good at before, but understandably with time off, things can be a little bit scary, especially when we come back and we're in a brand new pen that he's not been in before. So today I'm going to make sure to be more prepared. I've got my halter all the way loose, and I'm not going to go ahead and try and get it over both ears. We're going to start with one ear, and then we will progress from there. I'm also going to make sure that I hold it still and let him stick his face in. We'll take that. And it's not that he has forgotten his training. What this is when sitting, they will just lose confidence. Okay? He might not even be too certain of me because, like I said, I've only hung out with him about 10 times. But by no means does letting your horse have a break make them forget everything and regress into a wild horse, unless your horse does not enjoy their training and they're uncomfortable, which makes a lot of sense. Good. Okay, so I'm watching this other side kind of run into his eye over there. That might be a little bit of what's bothering him. So we're going to give that a little bit of a break. Remember, it's always good to switch back and forth between easy and a little bit more challenging behaviors. And a challenging behavior is simply something that makes your horse a little bit uncomfortable to complete, okay? It doesn't have to be something that's physically strenuous. I'm going to see if I can just touch this rope on his neck. Good. We saw his head raise a little bit, meaning he was a little bit uncomfortable with it. But he was brave and he came right back down stress-wise. So that emotional regulation is really our focus here. Not what they can do, but how quickly do they recover from stress and things that might make them uncomfortable? Now, understandably, he's a little bit worried about this halter from yesterday. Very good. But in a few days' time, this problem will be all solved, and we can begin working on leading again. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to work on touching these ears a little bit. Seems like that's a little bit of a trigger for him right now. So see that? Good. He jerked away, but he came right back as if to say, oh yes, I'm supposed to be relaxed and confident with you. So then he let me do it. Let's see. Good. Good boy. No problems there. We see a little bit of stiffness and a little bit of cease of blinking and things like that. So I know that this is stressing him out just a small amount. There. And that one he was perfectly calm the entire time. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. All right. Good. Now we're going to do the same thing over here on this side. Good. He was a little worried, but then immediately you see him drop his head. Good. And he even took a step closer to me that time, indicating that he's getting more comfortable with what I'm asking of him. And I think he's asking me for some shoulder scratches, so I will happily offer those. Okay, now we'll return to the halter here. I might even loosen this noseband one or two, just so the whole process is a little more smooth. Good. Good boy. Okay, so we had some problem there when I got to his ear. So we'll just see what he does with that one more time. Good. Good. Very good. That was much better. We got all the way over that ear that time. We just need him to remember that this isn't a scary process, because yesterday, very good, good boy. Yesterday my expectations put pressure on him. I expected him to have no problem with the halter. And when you come into a session with the horse with expectations, I promise you things are never ever going to go the way that you expected them to. It's just a rule. And on that note, it would be awesome if each of you would go in the comments and share a time that you went into a session with expectations and they were not met. Good. And we see this head lowering a lot. I went over the ear that time too with no problem. So this time we might try 2 ears. He got a little uncomfortable. I think it's my grip here that I'm having to switch, or that eye. So we're going to look at both of those and determine which factor he is a little bit uncomfortable with here. Okay. So we're going to go back to 1 ear. Perfectly fine with the ear. So I think it's the fact that it's hitting his eye on that side over there, which is understandable. If something's whacking me in the eye, I wouldn't like it either. The thing is, though, his head is growing, so it's a little bit harder. Good. For me to get it over that eye without it dragging across. Good. Now, typically I would take it back off, but I wanted to do as little maneuvering up there as possible. Good boy. Now, while he's got that on, I might just come back here and give the shoulder a little bit more scratching. Good. Now, we got a little bit worried about it coming off. That is A-okay. I understand that. All right, and we're going to see if we can do that one more time. Good. And we came all the way on and off. You got a big head, buddy. I might have to order you a bigger halter. Yeah. Good boy. All right. So let's just mess with this lead rope just a time or two. We know this is something he's had issues with in the past. So we will end the session playing with this a little bit. Very good. We had a pause in chewing and his head raised a little bit there, but he relaxed back down immediately. I'm going to try the same thing over here. Good. Good boy. Just a tail over the neck. Look at that head go right back down. So we're going to call it on the lead rope. That was very good for not having that done in a really long time, and he was really worried about that in the past. And I have no doubt that if I wouldn't have had expectations yesterday and forced the halter onto his head too soon, that we wouldn't have issues with that today either, if I'd have taken it a little bit more slowly. So I'm taking full responsibility for that, and we will just progress from here. And ask him to pick up this leg one more time. Shift. Perfect. Good boy. Yeah. Big exhale there. I don't know if you guys could hear it. go. Okay. Now that is going to be the end of today's session. I hope that you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next episode. All right, come on.